Hey everyone, can you hear me? Give me thumbs up if you can. Awesome. All these messages coming through. I don't know how to block like Facebook messages as I'm doing the Zoom. So hello. Welcome. Everyone, just a minute to pop in here. How are you guys? All right, I'm gonna put some oils on. What are you guys putting on? Comment.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Okay, some can. Let's see. Logging back in. Okay. Hey. I am joining from upstate New York. So we're trying this, something new. Where are you guys joining from? Now, most of you on here, you can comment if you want to, where you're joining from, what oil you're putting on. I am going to start with Believe. I'm going to talk about that oil tonight. Thinks that I have to kind of wait and admit you guys, but I know Zoom is kind of weird these days.
Now can I hear you?
Now can you hear me, Chris?
I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Hang on. Sometimes this happens to me. Sometimes I have my mute button on. Hey, Marge, I'm in your neck of the woods.
It's not on. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Now I think I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna mute everyone. And yep. If there's any questions at the end or as we go along, feel free to use the chat feature on the right-hand side during our Zoom, and you can find that if you're on your computer, you can find that at the bottom section. You can hit chat. If you don't want to be on video, that's totally fine. You can stop the video. There's a little record button at the bottom, but I love to see all your smiling faces though. So if you can, keep yourself on, but I know some of us are busy doing dishes and gardening and tending to children, so I totally understand that you're just listening off in the distance. So I really appreciate you all being here tonight. Krista Buckwalter and I are going to just share some things about creating a vision and what that looks like, creating a vision for our business, but also for our life. Because if you are running a business, whether it's a Young Living business or another business, creating vision is really important to do for our life and for our business. And within that, we're also going to be talking about money and the borders that we placed around that, the stigma that we placed around money, and how to have a positive view of that. Because in business, I feel like, and especially as women, we need to have a positive view of money, because we are kind of in a man's world, even though we have equality. Is it really sometimes? But that's not something we're going to get into. So I'm going to pose a question, as I have some people that are still popping in. So, and I posted this in the event group, and I know, Krista, you posted this on your Facebook feed too, and I thought this was just really profound. You know, growing up as a child, what did it mean to you to be wealthy, to have money, to be rich? As a child, what did that look like? Was it Nike shoes? Was it going on vacation? Because our view of money starts from such a young age. So for me, it was, and you can type your yours in the comments. For me, it was going to the mall and going to this, like, my favorite store, Express, escapes me, like 1990s Express, and like getting nice clothes to go back to school and having the best clothes. That showed wealth to me. Even though I grew up where my parents worked so hard, my dad worked overtime all the time. We heard words like not in the budget, too expensive. Even though I had amazing parents, but they were very frugal with their money. They were very wise with their money. But those things played in my mind. And so, what for you was that stigma of wealth? Some of you were saying buying Gap clothing, getting fast food. Yeah, like going out to dinner, right? Having a big house in the country that wasn't attached to another house. Okay, like seeing those houses. Yeah, for me, it was, I saw my friends going to Disney World, and we went to Knoebels camping, and we stayed at a friend's campsite. We went to my aunt's beach house. And so it was never really ours, right? Even though that was like the most amazing memories. To me, I was like, well, my friends are going on these vacations, right? I guess we don't have the money to do that, right? We're going and staying at someone else's place. So all of those things as a child, they build up as an adult. And even though you might not be conscious of these things, they are playing out day by day in how you view money and how you handle it, and how you, even the language that you use amongst your family, amongst your friends, amongst your peers. Because don't we hear it all the time? I know you're all in here, that you're all in Young Living, and you hear, oh, that kit is too expensive. I said it. How many of you said it? I can't afford it right now, right? We hear that language come through all the time. And so, let's see, what are you guys saying? So Nike sneakers, having a house with a hot tub or a pool. Yes, these are all things. Okay. So these are all what I would say probably like our limiting beliefs. We put these limiting beliefs on ourselves, okay? So we were conditioned to view money this way. And why are we talking about money when we're really supposed to be talking about casting vision and creating vision? Well, can we all agree that it takes money to do what we're dreaming to do? Right? Can we all agree? It takes money. But let's talk a little bit about money in a different way, because we view money as a vehicle, and we also view it as a limit to our success, either a vehicle to our success or a limit to our success. I don't have enough. When this happens, then I'll be able to do this, right? That's the language that we speak. Instead, we should see money as this liquid that flows freely to us when we change our mindset and when we change our conscious language. Okay, when we believe and we dream. So that's why I have Believe oil. I'm gonna put some more on and breathe it in, because it starts with our beliefs. It starts with our thought process. And so it ultimately starts with us and how we speak and how we think and how we talk to others. Specifically, even our family members, even our children, if you have children, young children at home. So I want to make sure I'm staying on track here. Because I was writing these notes as I was driving up here, and they're like all over the place. So, so as a young girl growing up, before Joanna Gaines and Chip, before Joanna and Chip, I would ride on the bus. Now, mind you, I grew up in a development. We could ride bike. It was like an amazing childhood. But in my mind, I knew exactly what I wanted. And I want you guys to tap into that childlike faith, that childlike belief that anything is possible, right? How many of you remember those days where we making mud pies and you would, I remember picking like just weeds and making bouquets with weeds. Like, to me, they were beautiful. And so tap into that childlike belief. And so I would ride the school bus, sitting in the school bus, and we'd pass this farm. And I was like in 6th grade. And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to have a house like that. I'm going to have lots of animals. I'm going to have children. I'm going to have a blonde-haired, blue-eyed husband. Like, that's what I made up in my mind. That was my dreaming. How many of you dreamt? Like, you did those things as a child? Hands up. Right? Yes, let's go back to that. Because as adults, we lose that. I feel like when I was writing this, I was feeling like Peter Pan, right? We want to go back to Neverland. And we can tap into that. And that's something that we have to learn to kind of create and foster and not think that it's silly. So I don't think anything is an accident or a coincidence. I think it's by divine appointment, by divine nature, that we can manifest what we desire and not what we want. Get that word want out of your language and use desire. I desire to be able to take my family on a nice vacation. I desire to have a pool in my backyard. I desire to pay off debt. Whatever it is, it's not guilty. It's not, I feel like there's this stigma around money that it's guilty to talk about money, to talk about making money, to talk about having nice things, because those things are okay, because money, and this is what Mary Young says, money in the hands of good people do good things. So I guarantee that when you can bring in an income that is providing, you're also going to be providing for those things that you love and you have compassion for, whether it's ministries in your community, whether it's the poor, you have widows, you have people that you care for, you have those things that you love to give to, or even you have more time, freedom to give to those organizations. Am I right? Like, yes. So do not feel guilty. That's another thing that we need to just get rid of in our mindset. And that takes time, that takes practice. And so manifestation, those things, and I'm going to tell a really quick story because I call her my earthly angel. And like I said, nothing is coincidence. Everything is divine appointment, if we are listening and if we are in tune. I dated a lot of guys, but I had this, I was like, I know what I want and I'm not settling. And a friend of mine introduced me to Brooke. And I was like, all right, one more blind date, whatever. Whatever. And I was like, head over heels. The same friend, we were looking for a house. And I said to Brooke, I'm done. We've lived here for 5 years. We're renting this. I want a house. And I said, want. I should have said desired, right? I'm like, I want a house of our own. The same friend introduced me to a friend that was selling her home in Lancaster County privately. You don't find homesteads privately at the price that we found them at. So manifesting all those things. But what did I do? I packed up our house, like in boxes. We had no other house to go to, but my house was packed in boxes. And this happened. Like, she's like, hey, this house is coming for sale. And then we had our third baby, and she was not sleeping. She was just she's my strong-willed child. The same friend gave me a bottle of lavender. Okay. She's not doing the business. She's not sharing Young Living. She just knew I needed help. Coincidence? No. These are the things that we manifest when we know we are very, very clear with what we want. I'm sorry. See, I'm still learning. With what we desire and with what drains us. Okay. And so, Krista, I'm going to ask you to share anything that you feel like that you have become really clear about in these last year or last couple of months. Anything that you feel that is on your heart to share with these ladies about your vision going forward.
Sure. So actually a lot has transpired in the past couple months. And it's really interesting that, it is happening at the state of our country and our world today with everything that's going on. But we've always had, up until I want to say about a year or two ago when I went to Diamond Bound, that was like a game changer for me going there, because you're surrounded by so many successful women and men, as well as women and men who are just striving to do better. And so that was really empowering to be a part of that community. And it really shifted my mindset because before that, and I distinctively remember when Isaac was just a baby, Travis and I sitting down and looking at our budget and saying, okay, we need to make this work. What can we get rid of our budget? And we're like, okay, Netflix, that'll save us $6 a month. Let's go from 10 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes for our phone, and that'll save us $14 a month. Like, we were looking for like pockets of change essentially just to be able to make it month to month. And we were living on paycheck to paycheck. And one of the things I always kept saying was, every year we're going to be making a little bit more. We're going to be paying down our debt. So we're going to be owing a little bit less. And eventually we won't feel like we're suffocating. So fast forward, because we've always still like really struggled with that poverty mindset. And we naturally tend to go for, this is something that I desire, but we just can't do that right now because of, X, Y, and Z. And instead we started saying, okay, this is something that we desire. So how can we make this happen by doing X, Y, and Z? And that was the mindset that we took, and really started in the past year, taking hold of that. And one of our dreams was being able to own a house of our own. And that's something that just seemed so far-fetched. That's something that we would never, ever be able to do, just because of the sheer financial responsibility of it all, even just upfront to make a purchase. But it was something that we wanted to do, and we're like, we're going to make this work. So, thankfully we made the correct moves in our careers, and the abundance within Young Living has helped as well. And we're closing on our first home in July, the last day in July, July 31st. And even then, by looking at, some of the different houses and whatnot, it was like, I still want chickens. Like, can I have chickens in this development? I don't think so. And we ended up finding a house that literally checked off all of our boxes. And it was just like, the way it fell into place was wonderful. And it's so interesting that thinking back to where we were literally 5 years ago to the date, counting our pennies and canceling a $6 Netflix account, to make sure that we had enough money for groceries that week. So it's just been that mindset, and that shift of mindset just kind of helps you prioritize a lot, and put things into focus. And it definitely helped the past couple months as well, with the fact that, we weren't able to just like, hey, let's go out to eat, or hey, let's go to this restaurant here. And, a lot of the things that we always thought were just things that we needed were not at all. And that really put into perspective for us as well.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love your story, Krista. And I know you were looking at houses, but I didn't know that news. So that's exciting.
Yeah. We kept it really hush hush because this is the 4th house that we've gone through the ringer with. We've lost 3 prior to this. So I was like, we're not going to say anything until everything goes through, but it's going through.
And it's so easy to get in that comfort zone. And when things don't go our way, then we're like, oh, we curse, instead of saying, okay, well, what do you have for me? Like for me, it's praying to God. And I'm okay, God, what do you have? You have, it's that changing that mindset is, okay, God, you have something even better in store. And why would you not want to bless me? You love me. And so we are all children of his. And so why wouldn't he want to bless us? And so many times we look at that negative because that is just human nature. And so, and it's okay to keep it quiet. It's okay to be mindful of our money and being wise stewards. Like I said, what are the things that you desire and what are the things that drain you? And so is Netflix really serving a purpose? Like if you love it, don't get rid of it. If you love it, keep it. If going out to eat is something that you love doing and it's part of who you are, keep it. But if it's not, if you see that it's like, okay, that's draining me, do I really need that in order to get this, which I'm going to take you through this exercise really quick. And you can do this on your own. Like just continually do this exercise to get really good and really clear with your vision. Because it's a skill to get back to that dreaming state as we were as a child. But tap into that childlike self. And if money and time was not an issue, just wasn't an issue, what do you desire in your life? What do you desire in your business? Write it down on paper. Take like 30 seconds to a minute. Write it down. If money and time was not an issue, what do you desire for your life? What do you desire for your business? Maybe that could be giving to a ministry, more of your time, more of your finances. Maybe it's taking your family on a vacation. Maybe it's paying off debt. He's getting a Harley and riding that puppy around town. And then you can take time to do this exercise so that you can get clearer. Because, media, social media, advertisements, they all really just get into our mind, and that's what they're meant to do, right? Oh, we see this beautiful woman running across the beach in this bathing suit, so I want to look like that, right? That's just ingrained in our mind. So if we can try to push all of those things, all the media, all the social media, all the comparison away. What are your gifts? What are your talents? What do you love to do? What could you talk about all day long? What are your skills? What kind of crafts do you love to do if you love to do crafts? What do you love to cook? What is it? And really hone in on who you are. And on that list, circle what is the most important to you right now. Because when you do this next week, when you do this a month from now, when you do this a year from now, continuously do this, that thing that you circle, if it keeps showing up over and over and over again, that is the thing you need to focus on. Okay? And a lot of times that's your why in your business. It's what drives you. It's what keeps you coming back to, when those days are hard and people tell you, no, this kit is too expensive, or I'm dropping my ER. I can't do this right now. Or when they tell you those things, or when you have a class and no one shows up, that why is what continuously drives you to keep showing up for people, because there are people out there that just need health options, right? And so feel free to share what is it if you want to. I mean, these are our things that maybe we haven't even shared with our spouse or a sister or a cousin. So when you feel comfortable, say it out loud. So if you want to, you can say it out loud on the chat feature, or say it out loud with someone you love, you trust, you respect, that will keep this and hold space for you, right? Because it's empowering when you can do that. And so if you feel free to do that on our chat, or you can reach out to me or someone that you feel comfortable with, because this is your why. My business coach said the other day, how many streams of income do you have? Going back to money. And I was like, I barely any, really. I mean, I was counting maybe not even a handful. She's like, we have 9 and we're working on 10. I was like, well, what? Like, that's incredible. Like, we're so ingrained to think that you go to school, you get a job, you work 40 hours a week, you retire, and then you live on that retirement. That does not work anymore these days. Not at all. And so we have to be thinking about different streams of income and how we can put our eggs in different baskets, right? And using our gifts and talents. So for us, Young Living is one of those things. And I know for some of you, it's the same thing, right? And it might start out as, I want to be able to pay for these oils. I want to get these oils paid for because I see value in them and they are really helping my family. Raise your hand if that's you. Yes, okay. I love helping people. I love the oils. They have worked wonders for me. It aligns with my lifestyle. Now, if you ask me to sell nail polish or makeup, like Young Living has makeup, but I don't really share about it because that's not my thing. But Rachel Cornish, I see you on here. That is your wheelhouse, and I love your videos. Like, that is your thing. Like, you have to love what you're doing. Right? And I love that Young Living has all those different avenues to be able to share. If you love animals, you can share about the animal line. If you love sharing about emotions and how these oils have helped you with emotions, that's your wheelhouse. Makeup, that's your wheelhouse. But you have to find what you could talk about day in, day out, right? So think about that. Write that down. Different streams of income. Young Living is most likely one of those for you on here, because I know most of you on here, right? And so you can start out by sharing and being consistent. And so I'm going to go through some of these 3 steps to get really clear, right? We started getting clear with our vision and creating that vision, starting to talk about those limiting beliefs of money. And before I do that, this is one thing I forgot to do, but in the comment section, what are some of the language that we need to delete that is limiting language, that's not even like, the power of life and death is in our tongue, right? So we can speak death and we can speak life. So Krista, I'm going to call on you again to share some of maybe your limiting beliefs that you grew up with, some of those words that you may have heard. And the rest of you, can you comment? Tell me, what were some of your words? What were some things spoken to you? What are things that you have in your language that you know that, oh, now you're realizing, okay, this is what I do need to change. And then we can talk about ways that we can verbalize it better, right?
So kind of what I mentioned earlier with the whole like poverty mindset, that was a huge limiting belief. And that is something that I'm still working through. But the other one is just, I don't know how I'm able to do it, but I can come up with an excuse as to why I can't do something faster than I can breathe sometimes, you know? And it's like, I always have this excuse as to why I can't do something. And so that's something I'm working on. So for example, I'm a special ed teacher, and it's always, oh, well, you know, I'm really busy with school because of, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I can't commit to this. But then, you know, later I'm sitting there watching, you know, an hour, 2 hour shows, you know, and I'm like, well, that would have been the time that I could have done that, but I'm tired. So it's like that constant excuses that I find myself like having to kind of check myself and then think like, is that really why you're not doing it, or is there something else that's in the way? So that's kind of something else I'm working through. I've always been that way. I don't know why.
Getting it real quick. No, Krista, yeah, I'm right there with you. I was the queen of excuses. I made an excuse why I can't go to my best friend's wedding. It was fear of talking to strangers. Like, don't put me in a room of strangers. Or, you know, like, it was just awkward. Yeah. But then you regret it because that's time lost. That I could have met new people. I could have done this. I could have had personal growth. That's really hard. It's like we all have those self-sabotage things that we do, right? And me included. And I have a book here that I will put in the comments, but a friend of mine gave this to me. It's called The Mountain Is You. How many times have you heard that you are in your own way? I've heard it over and over, that we are the ones that are standing in our own way. And this is by Brianna Weiss. She's a local author. I'm going to write this down. I started reading this, and it's incredible. It goes over all of those limiting beliefs, the self-sabotage that we put ourselves through. We start something, but we can't finish it because it's so easy to be in that comfort zone. And we don't like to get into that zone of where we actually grow. And so this is a very, very powerful book. I'm only like chapter 2, and I'm like, whoa, this is incredible. So highly recommend it. But those limiting beliefs that we've heard before, it's too expensive, we can't afford it, not now, you know, and you can comment to some of those things that you have heard too, but the words like cheap, I forget what else I said. Yeah, those were some of the things. But here's some three things to help you catapult, right? We need to look at disappointment, or when things don't go right, we need to look at them as a catalyst for growth, okay? So first of all, get really clear with your vision. Get clear with what you desire and what drains you. Just like we just did, continue that activity, you know, once a week, take 5 minutes. What do you desire? What is draining you in your life? What is not serving a purpose in your life? Making sure you're leaving white space in your calendar to be able to do that, so that you don't have those distractions. Remember, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So what you're thinking, what you're speaking, being really clear with that conscious language, instead of saying, oh, that's too expensive, be like, wow, that's really valuable. So that must do some powerful things in my life. Or, you know, instead of saying anything at all, when you see something that you desire, be like, okay, think in your mind, okay, how, you know, just put it out there. Put it out there that you desire it, and how are some ways that you can finance it? You know, where's that money going to come from? You don't know where money's going to come from. You might say in your mind, well, when I pay down this debt, then I can do this. Well, you don't know where that money's going to come from to pay down that debt. You have no clue, right? Because things ebb and flow. Life is never consistent. So we just have to be really conscious with our language. Dreaming from your value and not for your value. Did you hear that? Dreaming from your value. Like, who are you? What are those things that set your soul on fire? What do you love? Instead of dreaming for your value and looking for praise from others to get your value. Okay? Dreaming from your value. Okay? Number 2, we talked a little bit about this. Thinking about ways that you can create an income that's going to work for you. For me, I knew I could not be a teacher for the rest of my life. I loved it, but I just couldn't do that. It was not working for me. So I had to find other ways to bring in income while I stayed home with the children, right? So think about those things. How can you create an income? Young Living might be one of them. I hope it is, because it's an incredible residual income. It's not going to be like, instant gratification, but it's going to pay for that order, that 50 TV order. And that's going to be beautiful. You're going to be providing wellness for your family. And then it's going to increase to maybe paying off a little bit of debt, or paying for groceries, or paying for private school for your children, whatever that might be, or maybe going on a vacation, like a little excursion, weekend excursion. And then it's going to increase. Okay, residual income does not go away. My upline above Melissa, some of you know Melissa, she's I wouldn't say completely stopped, but she put a halt to her Young Living business because she built it up to a point where she could create another business, something that drove her, like she just loved it. And she is rocking it right now. She has created something so amazing for women that she is building that business, but she has the residual income of Young Living coming in while she's building another business, okay? Incredible. So think about, what else do you want to do in life? You're never too old to start dreaming, okay? And then thirdly, this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with, is believe. Have that childlike faith and believe. Get into books. Get into a group of people that support you, that love you, that lift you up. Like Krista was saying, when we went to Diamond Bound, you were surrounded. I know how emotional you were, Krista. Like, you are surrounded by people that are like doing these things. They are speaking life. They don't have negativity, well, at least that weekend, because everyone's so excited, right? And you dream, and you create a vision for your life, right? And then to come home, you have to keep it going. So you have to be in a supportive community, okay? And so get involved, get into books. Some things that we have coming up. And then I'm gonna let Krista share anything else that she feels that she wants to share as well. But we have some things coming up. Brooke and I, my husband, we went to Danny Johnson. She's not associated with Young Living at all, but she's just a really powerful speaker, a really powerful person in our life that we learned so much from. And we went together. It was life lessons, business lessons. She's doing all of her things virtual right now. First Steps to Success. And I will post it all in the Facebook group. First Steps to Success is something you can plug into. And it's so much cheaper because you don't have to pay for a plane ticket. You don't have to pay for a hotel. And so it's something, if you can invest in that, you're investing in your future, because you're going to come away with life lessons. You're going to come away empowered to build your business, build your family, build your marriage. These are all those things that we've learned. Diamond Bound is coming up. There's a virtual ticket. So if you cannot make it personal, in person, you can attend virtually, and they're all business lessons specifically geared towards Young Living, hosted by Jordan Schrant. There's also a live option in Texas, which I'm still planning on going, not backing down there. So I will post that information as well. And then there's also something that I'm going to do starting in July called the Rise Mentorship. Young Living just posted a beautiful booklet on how to build your business in 90 days. And I want to run with you guys through this booklet if that's something that you desire to do, to grow your business in 90 days. So that's something I can bring you and offer you as one of my team members, and I will post that in our group as well. So 3 different options, as well as the book that I posted, The Mountain Is You. If you're not yet a Young Living member, your kit is not just a kit of oils to help you with your health, but you have that option to build a business. How many people have that option to build a multi-million-dollar business from just spending $165? That is not possible, right? And yes, you have to invest. Like every month I'm investing in either my personal development or in my business, and, saving a little bit aside and and buying books for my members. You know, that's all part of business management and budgeting. But I have replaced my teaching salary. I can be home with my children. There's nothing more valuable than that. Okay. And so those are your options going forward. Those are those 3 things that you can do. And I'm going to give away, I'll give you guys a Google Drive or Google form. Envision a roller bottle of Envision so that you guys can start envisioning your future and what you desire. So I take a drop of this or roll it right on my forehead, pineal gland, right? Pineal gland, where I can create. Because did you know when you're on your social media, when you're on your phone all the time, you're zapping your creativity. You're zapping that pineal gland. It's like pretty much, what did I hear? Freeze drying it? Not freeze drying it. It's like you're taking that energy away. So let's create vision. Let's get off of our phones, breathe in our oils, take some time for ourselves to really get to know who we are and what we desire. All right. Krista, do you have anything else that you wanted to say to these ladies that joined us tonight?
I do. So just any type of opportunity you have to do any sort of the business development, like Sarah was just saying, jump on it. I know the mentorship that she's offering in July is going to be just wonderful. I've done a couple of the programs that she's ran over the past couple years, and I've always just gained nuggets of knowledge, and it's so great to have a community that you can run with together. So definitely consider one of those 3 options that she said. But then also, and this is something that I have a hard time with, is we want to think big. You know, when we're doing our vision casting, you want to think of, I mean, right away, I went to like my ceramic studio she shed that's going to be in the backyard of my house one day. But I'm like, but that's not like going to happen right away. So I need other things to happen first. So it's like, okay to have that huge vision, but like make those manageable steps to get there. I know for me, like I never wanted to do the business ever. And it took me, I think, a year of using Young Living before I even shared it. And I didn't even share it because I was sharing it. I was just diffusing in my classroom. And one of my ladies was like, that smells wonderful. How do I get a diffuser? And I'm like, I think I can share this with you. And that's kind of how it started. But, you know, at the time, my husband was like, again, with the budget and what's everything worth, like you're wasting $50 a month on ER when we could be putting that towards, you know, something else. And I'm like, well, if I start sharing oils and I get my oils for free, can I keep my essential rewards? And he was like, sure. And I'm like, okay, like game, check, match, got it, thank you. So I mean, it can start wherever, as long as it works for you.
Thank you, Krista. And I think it would be fun to have a guys' night. I would love to hear the guys' perspective one of these nights.
I think it would be so funny to be a fly on the wall for any guy's night.
I think Brooke would just need me by his side though. So, but I think because he always says like, I just didn't understand. I didn't understand at first, even though he grew up in a crunchy home and had a mom that they ate organic. He just didn't understand, but he just let me do my thing. But yeah, and like you said, Krista, like believe, you know, you might not know that you're doing this as a business because, you know, you might not set out to do it, but you believed that those oils helped you. Like believe, like these oils are different than what you can get on Amazon. You believe that they're different from what you can get at Revive. You know the power of them. You know the company's like crazy standards. And when someone says, no, I think I'm going to go buy them over here, do not waver. Do not, because there is someone that is going to value the purity of Young Living oils. Okay, and we just got to keep showing up, believing in the power of them, and keep sharing, because there are people that are like, yeah, those ones on Amazon, they just didn't work, and so let me try your lavender, right? You just got to keep being consistent and showing up, because so many people just stop after a month or 2 of getting, you know, no's and negative, you know, people's poverty mindset, like you were saying, and we were all there, and they quit. Don't quit. Consistency, show up, love people, and believe in yourself, believe in your visions, your dreams, and just have that that open mindset. So thank you all for showing up tonight and taking the time out of your Wednesday evening. I really, really appreciate that. And thank you, Krista, for sharing and being a part of just our education this evening. So I'm going to leave you and let you get back to your families. All right, guys, take care. If you have questions, reach out.
Sarah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.